Welcome to this edition of Transfer Rate. Alexis Nunes alongside James Olley. James is our man when we're talking about London clubs. We're trying to see what kind of business they will be doing in the transfer window, which will be an unprecedented one whenever we do indeed have that one. James, let's start off with Chelsea because that is exactly where we want to see a lot of things that seem to be going on, though. I mean, let's start with the left-back position. We're seeing that a number of different names. I love me a shopping spree. It seems that Roman Abramovich and Frank Lampard love a shopping spree as well, but we see that Ben Chilwell could be the top target.
Yeah, Ben Chilwell at Leicester City's been on Chelsea's radar for quite some time. They've looked at doing a deal previously. Clearly, they've had the transfer ban to contend with last summer, and then in January they kind of had other areas of the team that they were looking to prioritise. I know that they've sounded out Leicester about a possible deal on more than one occasion. He's on quite a long contract at Leicester, so they're in quite a strong negotiating position. But Chilwell's ambitious. He's broken into the England team. He's made himself quite an important part of Gareth Southgate's plans going forward. He may well have even been the starting left back at the Euros had they taken place this summer. And clearly, Chelsea are trying to present themselves as the next step up in his career development. As with all of Chelsea's transfer plans, and really with all the clubs at the moment, they're kind of starting to reassess their options a little bit because of the coronavirus pandemic and the financial effects of that. However, I do still think Chelsea are going to be quite proactive in the market. They have looked at Alex Telles at Porto and Tagliafico at Ajax as kind of cheaper and easier to complete deals. So I think they're certainly players that they're continuing to monitor. But Chilwell will be the one if they can get him out of Leicester. But I don't think that'll be easy because I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers won't want to sell.
And then I know one of the things, of course, that was the thing with Ben Chilwell is that they were hoping that his price tag will go down a little bit given this coronavirus pandemic. Any chance of that?
Well, I mean, Leicester have got a robust ownership, so and they're not short of cash. They're quite well. They're a very well-run club, in fact. So I don't think they'll be under any immediate pressure to sell as a result of it. But clearly, if a club like Chelsea were able to come in and offer, I mean, I think that the asking price I heard was around 60 million at least there, maybe even more than that before the coronavirus pandemic struck. So if that price comes down, then clearly it'd be more appealing to Chelsea. But I don't see Leicester as being one of the more vulnerable clubs just simply because of the way their finances are set up.
Moving on now to some more of the attacking roles, so to speak. Two names that I see floating around to Chelsea are Jadon Sancho and Philippe Coutinho. I mean, for them to get both of them would definitely be something big. Which one's actually likely, and is there any truth to their pursuit of these two?
Well, we did. In fact, with ESPN, we've done a story on both of them in the last few weeks. The Jadon Sancho thing's quite interesting because Chelsea for a long time have been following a model of trying to grow their own revenue, try to make sure they're not just relying on obviously a very wealthy owner to sort of write off losses or turn debt into equity and kind of keep them going. So for a long time, I mean 2 or 3 years, they've been looking at, yes, they've still been active in the market. They signed Christian Pulisic for quite a lot, 50 odd million. It's not that they're not spending, but they've tried to sort of steer themselves away from these massive mega money deals. However, they always made a bit of an exception with Jadon Sancho. There were noises during the season before the COVID-19 situation that they were prepared to match the kind of money that Dortmund were asking for. However, it's become clear, I think, in the last 2 or 3 months that Manchester United are now the front runners for Sancho's signature. They've put in a lot of the groundwork. There's quite a consensus at Chelsea that feel they are behind United in the pecking order. And as a result of that, and again with COVID-19 forcing that kind of slight rethink about finances, they've looked at other alternatives. Now, Coutinho obviously is a different type of player to Sancho, but he's much more readily available in that, I mean, essentially his agent is kind of hawking him around Europe at the moment. So the number of clubs have been offered the chance to sign him. But he's, you're talking about a £9-10 million loan fee, and Barcelona would want his entire £250,000 a week wage covered. So it's not necessarily a cheap deal. It's a cheaper deal, obviously, than Sancho. But I do know that he's a player that Lampard admires. He does want some more creativity and a bit more unpredictability in the team. And he would certainly fit the bill there. But I think if Sancho made an indication that he was prepared to come to Chelsea over United, I think certainly they would throw everything they've got at trying to make that deal happen. But given that it looks as though United are further ahead at the moment, that players like Coutinho and indeed Kai Havertz, and now another one from Bayer Leverkusen is a player that they've looked at. Again, a different type of player, but Havertz has been playing as a central striker more recently, but he can play as a number 10. I think they see him as being a bit more versatile, potentially. I know he's not played a lot out on the left foot, but I think they see him as somebody who they could maybe mould. I think he's only 20, 21 years old, so, plenty of time for him to develop. But again, that deal would be quite expensive. There's talk about him being worth 70, 80 million, maybe more. So Coutinho represents the cheapest of those three options. But I certainly think we're going to see an attacking arrival at Chelsea. It's just a case of trying to work out which one they can pull off at the moment.
Well, I was going to say that because as if those names aren't big enough. I mean, there's still some other two names in terms of strikers that we're talking about. We have Moussa Dembele at Lyon that's also been linked with Chelsea, and Timo Werner, Leipzig's wonder kid, so to speak. I mean, he definitely doesn't play like he's a little kid, though. That's probably why he's on everybody's radar. What are the chances of Chelsea getting the signature of either of these two?
Well, Dembele is their preferred option, but it is a more complicated deal to complete simply because you've got to negotiate with the Lyon president, who has proved quite difficult in the past. He tends to provide a running commentary for deals, which is great for us in the media, but it's not always good for a negotiating club who are trying to get a deal over the line, especially if there are two or three others in the mix. And we do know that Dembele's attracted interest from Manchester United as well, and several other clubs across Europe. So it won't be an easy deal for Chelsea to do. It will also be a more expensive deal than Timo Werner, and everybody knows about this £49 million release clause. The problem there, of course, is that Werner wants to go to Liverpool. Now, Chelsea feel that there's a possibility that they might be able to convince him to come to Stamford Bridge by offering him more regular game time. Clearly, Firmino, Salah and Mane is a settled front three at Liverpool, and you would expect them to play every big game. Chelsea's situation is a little bit more uncertain. Obviously, Tammy Abraham's had a good season, but he's still quite young. He's still perhaps got something to prove at the very highest level. And you would suggest that Werner could be offered a chance to really establish himself as a number 9 at Stamford Bridge in a way that doesn't look as obvious as it does at Liverpool. And clearly there's a bit more of a fluid situation about the rebuild going on at Chelsea because it's Lampard's first season. He's got several players, Pedro, Willian, who are out of contract, likely to leave the club. It could look quite a different squad. So the idea of joining a rebuild rather than a team that's complete is something that they feel that might swing it in their favour. But we all know at the moment that Werner wants to play for Klopp. So it would have to take really Liverpool to pull out of the running for that, I think, for Chelsea to have a live chance there.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.